She's only 6, and at this age, it's magical. It's unique. It's not embarrassing. Hey my treasures, it's Sirena and welcome back to my channel for another video. To all my new treasures, new subscribers, thank you so much for supporting me. I know YouTube has a lot of content, and that you've chosen to add me to the content you enjoy watching is seriously humbling. It's really touching, and I really appreciate it. I want to apologize if my energy level seems a little low in this video. I've not been feeling well for the past couple days. The weather has been really unpleasant, very dreary and rainy, and I'm the type of person who can be very influenced emotionally by the weather. It just kind of gets me down, makes me feel more tired than I otherwise would on a sunny day. So I'm sorry for that, but we'll get through it with a smile because that's what we do. Today I am going to be answering, as the title says, 10 of the questions I always receive as a blind parent. If I'm having a long conversation with somebody, they may get through all 10, but if I'm just meeting somebody in passing or standing in a line with somebody and they find out I'm a blind parent, I will only get 1 or 2. But without fail, I always get at least 1. So I've got my knockoff Chromebook laptop here, and we're just going to be going through these, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. All right, let's get started. Is your daughter your eyes? No. My daughter is my daughter. I did not have a child to have a set of working eyes near me 24/7. She's not with me 24/7. She goes to school, she is in extracurricular activities, and she colors and does a lot of visual things. She's an artsy little girl. She loves painting, coloring with pencils and markers and anything she can get her hands on. She does a lot of visual things that I, without sighted assistance, would not be able to help her with or to see. So she's not my eyes, and I didn't have her just for the help. She'll assist me if she wants to, but I don't reach out to her or make her do it. She's a very helpful little girl. If I drop something, she will run to me, "Oh mommy, it's okay, I'll grab it." But no, she's not my eyes. She's just a little girl, and she'll help when she wants to help, and there are plenty of times where she's not in the mood and I don't make her. There are so many other options out there for me to have sighted assistance. I don't have to rely on my 6-year-old for that. Is your daughter embarrassed by you due to your blindness? Not yet. She's 6. I'm sure that when she's 12 or when she's 16, I will be the most embarrassing person in the world. And it could be either because I'm her mother or because I'm blind, but not at the moment. Actually, it's quite the opposite. She likes to show me off to her friends. She loves to grab my cane and try to explain to her friends that her mommy uses a cane because I can't see. Or she'll proudly say, "My mommy's blind," or, "My mommy has to use a cane because she's blind." So for her, it's something that is unique about me, just as much as my hair color might be. "My mommy's blind. Oh, your mommy can skydive? That's awesome. Your mommy can bake 5-tier cakes? That's totally cool. My mommy can't see." It's just a part of me. It's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's nothing to be embarrassed about. Not to her, not yet, and hopefully she'll grow up seeing that I am completely capable, and I will teach her that this isn't something to be embarrassed about. But it's very possible that when she's older, my blindness may embarrass her because I'm different. I'm not the same as all the other moms at school. But we're not there yet. She's only 6, and at this age, it's magical. It's unique. It's not embarrassing. How do you know if your daughter needs a bath if you can't see whether or not she's dirty? My daughter gets a bath every other night unless she comes home super sweaty, which she's 6 now. It's easy to smell and feel when she hugs me if she's dripping with sweat or if she smells a little ripe due to needing a bath. I mean, that's easy enough to tell. When she was a baby, it's, again, easy to use your sense of smell to know whether or not your child needs a bath, but honestly, I just put her on a schedule, which is good for her. She likes routine, she enjoys schedules, and it is better for me. But yes, I can tell that my child needs a bath because of the way she smells, because I can feel the dirt or the mud or the grit that's on her, or she'll tell me, "Mommy, I have marker on my hands," or "I drew on myself today." I'm like, all right, time to get a bath. But yes, when she was a baby, it was about smelling her. I could feel if she dropped food on her, but most of it is just putting her on a schedule. But yeah, I can tell if my child's dirty. And honestly, if you're waiting for your kid to get super filthy before giving them a bath, you might want to rethink that approach, because they're going to learn that and they're going to get made fun of for it one day. Put your kid on a schedule. That's what I do, and it makes life so much easier. How do you pick out your daughter's clothes if you can't see them? I have a system in place for this, which I won't display right now because both of my brailers are out for repair. So I haven't actually gotten a chance to do this with her new clothing. But what I do is I take a piece of Braille paper, I braille the type of clothing. I mean, obviously I can tell it's pants, but if it's a pink shirt with Donald Duck on it, or if it's a blue shirt with a diagonally striped pattern, or if it's a red dress with a white sash, I will braille details like that onto the piece of paper, and I will pin it with safety pins to her clothing. I use plastic Braille paper, which I will display in another video when I'm actually doing this for you guys to see how it works. I use plastic Braille paper, and that can be washed. They have come off in the wash, and you got to be careful in the dryer since we don't actually want to melt the paper onto the piece of clothing. But yeah, that's what I do, and I can usually tell what the article of clothing is if the paper falls off in the wash. If not, I have Ira or Be My Eyes that can visually assist me. But most of the time, I just read the tags that I have created that are still pinned to her clothing, and that's how I know. But she's also 6, and that means she loves to pick out a lot of her own clothes. She's got very individual style. I'm sorry, I think that was grammatically awful. She has a very individual sense of style. So she likes to pick out her own clothes. Today she decided to wear 2 different color socks just because she wanted to, and I'm just like, okay, well, individuality, go for it. But yeah, that's how I tell what her clothing is. She most of the time wants to pick it out herself, or I will get visual assistants to tell me what the clothing is. I will make my tags, and I will read the tags that are on the clothing. How did you change your daughter's diapers when she was a baby if you couldn't see what you were doing? This is another thing that would be really fun and amazing to show you guys, but not something that is likely to happen. So I will try to explain it to the best of my ability. First of all, you can tell when a baby needs to be changed because of the way the diaper feels. I used to breastfeed my daughter, so in the early stages, before she started eating solid food, there wasn't much of an odor. I mean, that is true. Breast milk does really not produce much of an odor. So I had to rely on other methods. I could sometimes hear when she was going to the bathroom. Sorry, I know that's kind of gross, but it's true. But the diaper gets squishy when she's either peed in it or pooed in it. And pee and poo, when they first come out, they are warm, so it warms the diaper. So I can tell that. Cleaning her, I just laid her down on the changing table and worked in a grid-like pattern. First, I would take the diaper off of her and use, I'm trying to display it with my hands here. I would lift the top of the diaper and then hold her by her ankles, because when she was little, it was easy to do. Lift her up gently by her ankles and use the front of the diaper that had not been dirtied to wipe a lot of the excess away. Then I would use a grid pattern. I would take the baby wipe and just work from left to right, down, down, across, 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 across. Just working up and down, left to right, and then back again, making certain I got every inch of her bottom and any other places that needed to be cleaned. And I would use my hands. I know to some that might be absolutely disgusting, but it was my daughter and it didn't really matter. It's not as gross when it's your child because they came from you. So if you accidentally stick your finger in their poo, it's not pleasant, but it's not revolting. So yeah, I would use my hands. I would use a grid pattern, and that's how I cleaned my daughter. You can actually tell quite a bit by feel, which again, I know is kind of gross to some of you, but it works, and it worked for me, and that's how we did it. How do you feed your daughter if you can't see? I don't feed her much anymore. Sometimes I have to because she's really picky, and in that instance, now that she's older, most of the time I will stand behind her chair and use my right hand to scoop the food up on the fork. Sometimes to get the food on the fork, I will use another utensil, or if it's super hard, just wash my hands thoroughly, use my finger. And then I will place my hand upon her left cheek so I can feel where her mouth is and aim the fork at her mouth. And that's very similar to how I did it when she was a child. She is still a child, wow. When she was an infant as well, when she started eating solid foods, what I would do was I would sit perpendicular to her and reach out, touch her cheek with my left hand, and since the spoon was a lot smaller then, it was easy enough to just hold the spoon and still have one finger extended so that as I got closer to her mouth, I would be able to touch her cheek with the tip of my pointer finger, and then using my thumb, kind of just guide the spoon into her mouth. And it worked, like every time, honestly, it worked. She never really got the messy face that children usually end up with. Just because, I don't know, that's kind of gross to me. So she never ended up with tomato sauce all over her face because from the start, when she started eating solid food, I had a system in place. And I think that is super helpful for all blind parents. Have a system in place. It doesn't have to be my system. Obviously, every parent has their own system, whether you're sighted or blind, but definitely have a system. It makes things a lot easier if you do. How do you help your daughter with homework if it's not written in those bumpy dots? Those bumpy dots are called Braille, and it is actually surprisingly easy. I use Ira or Be My Eyes. They are both services. One is a volunteer service, Be My Eyes. Ira is a paid service used on the phones that pretty much enables blind people to have vision in their pockets. For Ira, it's a bit more sophisticated. We have agents on the other end of the line who have a dashboard, and whether you're using your phone camera or smart glasses, they can see what you see. And I will use Ira to assist my daughter with her homework because they can give me that visual feedback. Her father does help her a lot with it as well because he enjoys doing that. That's, he likes to have input and he likes to know what the homework is, and if he wants to help with the visual aspects of it, then totally go for it. Next year, I believe they're going to be getting Chromebooks in first grade, which is kind of ridiculous to me and insane and awesome all at the same time, because when I was a kid in school, we just had heavy textbooks. I honestly still remember trying to carry around all the print textbooks and read them, or pretend to read them because I didn't want to be different, but that's an entirely different video. But yeah, I think she's going to be getting a Chromebook, and Chromebooks have Chromevox on them, so hopefully if the formatting of the documents is good enough, I will be able to assist her more with her homework because I will have audio feedback while she's doing it. But for now, it's just a matter of using those services or using visual assistance, or when she is practicing her reading, if she has trouble with a word, I will have her read me the letters, and then I can help her sound them out because I can usually tell what the word is after the first couple letters. So that's how I do it. Can you take your daughter to the park if you can't see what she's doing? Yes, I can. I use walkie-talkies when we're at the park because I didn't want to use a whistle. I thought that would be really embarrassing for her, and it's not my job or my desire to embarrass her by whistling for her like a dog. Some blind parents use whistles, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult you if you do use a whistle. I just choose not to use that method. I have a pair of walkie-talkies, and Rosie is super excited when she gets to go out and use her walkie-talkie, and they clip right onto the waistband of her pants, and they actually give audio feedback when you turn them on. It'll tell me what channel I'm on with auditory feedback, and there are no visual screens. They're just really simple walkie-talkies, but they're good and they work at the range we need them to work on. Honestly, they say they work up to a mile. I haven't even tried them that far apart because we're never that far apart. So I will tell her to check in with me, or if she hasn't for a little while, I will use the walkie-talkie and page her and come in, Rosie, come and give mommy a hug over, and she will respond back, coming mommy over, and she loves talking that way, and she'll come over and give me a hug, and she knows that if I ever page her on her walkie-talkie and she does not answer, then we are leaving the park and we will not be coming back for a little while. But it has never been a problem or an issue. Honestly, most of the time she's the one who reaches out first because she feels all sophisticated that she's got this awesome walkie-talkie, and she's like little spy girl. It's pretty fun, it's pretty amazing, and it works for us. It works really well for us. How do you take care of your daughter when she falls and gets hurt? This has not happened as much as you might think. I'm actually rather surprised at how not clumsy my daughter is. I mean, she's clumsy in the sense that she can have really bad coordination sometimes, and she tumbles over a lot, but she hasn't ever skinned her knee badly or at all, honestly, not when she was with me. I think she has while she was with her dad, and he handled that, but I will talk you through how I would handle it. I would, in this instance, use Ira for the visual feedback. I have a pair of smart glasses, and I would probably wear those so I would have both hands free. I would sit her down, and now this is different if she had blood that just refused to stop and the wound was really deep and it needed stitches, and that is an entirely different situation. The steps to that would be something along the lines of 1, panic inwardly, 2, rush her to urgent care, 3, panic inwardly. But not panicking is generally the steps that you want to take when she just has a normal skinned knee. So I would use Ira to get the visual feedback, talk calmly, talk softly so Rosie isn't freaking out, and calmly feel my way toward the edges of the wound so I could tell how big it was. For myself, Ira would definitely tell me, and I could work with it, knowing where it was. Obviously, step 1 is to stem the flow. I would use gauze pads for this. Paper towels, in my opinion, are too rough, and I don't know, I feel like they would, if there was a lot of blood, I feel like the paper towels would just kind of disintegrate, or, I might get some caught in the wound, and that would be horrible. So I would use gauze pads to stem the flow, have Rosie hold that in place while I get everything else ready, and I would then try to flush the wound because I would not be able to tell, and it's possible Ira might not be able to tell if there's gravel in the wound or something. So if I had to flush out the wound, I would have Rosie sit with her feet in the bathtub. Obviously no pants on or anything, and I would take a squeeze bottle and squeeze it over the wound to hopefully flush out everything that is in there. I would do this a couple times because, overkill, but I would rather have overkill than not get everything out. I would obviously use warm water for this, and keep getting visual feedback every time. If people could still see something in the wound, that would be a different story because you might need to use tweezers, and I honestly am not going to sit here and say, oh yeah, I could do that without hurting her. I would be nervous to do that, honestly, but I would try to flush the wound out, and if it was simple to flush, I would do that. Obviously, dry her leg off, put more pressure with gauze pads, then disinfect the wound, every kid's favorite part, You know, that's not fun. I would not use an alcohol pad because my daughter would probably never speak to me again. But yes, I would use a disinfectant, spray the wound with that, you know, and deal with the screaming because my daughter would probably be very dramatic about how much it hurt. And then, you know, put the plaster on, and that is obviously usually every kid's favorite part, to pick out the band-aid, the plaster, whatever you call it. And because I had just been working for 5 minutes or so within the vicinity of the wound, I would be able to put it on. Rosie at this age is 6. She would probably just want to put it on herself. And I would use Ira for that task if she didn't want to touch it, if she didn't want to put it on herself, just to make sure I got it on right. So that's how I would take care of a wound. Do not ask me how I might take care of a broken bone. That would be, again, along the lines of panic, outwardly, probably this time, and rush her to the emergency room. I know there are ways to temporarily set a broken bone. I do not know what those are, and I would not try to use my 6-year-old as a guinea pig if that ever happened. Obviously, I would probably just call her father and be like, so you need to hurry and take us over to the emergency room because, yeah. So yeah, that's how I would take care of a broken, that's how I would take care of my daughter if she fell and skinned her knee or her elbow. She has not done this, so I consider myself lucky that I haven't had to deal with it. And, you know, how many parents can say that? My 6-year-old has not skinned herself, and that's pretty awesome. Or, you know, skinned a knee or an elbow. Skinning yourself would be a whole different class of wound. Something along the lines of Game of Thrones, and that's not what we want to see here. Did the hospital call Child Protective Services on you when you had your daughter? No. I actually had an incredible hospital experience, which I will elaborate on in another video, but the nurses were amazing. I know this isn't the case with a lot of blind parents. A lot of the nurses are very skeptical or very hostile, but no, mine were beautiful. They watched me to make sure that I could do everything that I had to do, but no, I didn't have any issues at my hospital with the nurses. Everyone was super supportive, and I was really lucky to have an incredible hospital experience in that regard. So, no. I did not. I am one of the lucky few who did not have to deal with that. And if you have had to deal with that, I am so super sorry. That is the most amazing time of a parent's life. You should never have to have it tarnished in that way. So there you have it, my treasures. The top 10 questions I always received as a blind parent. Well, not top 10, they are just the 10 most common, always asked. I'm telling you, like I said in the beginning of this video, if it's not all 10, it is at least 1 or 2 every single time. And I don't mind, but I just figured I would put them all here, answer them for you guys in case you had some questions. I will do videos another time and show you how I do certain things. I just couldn't do that today. I think some of those videos are going to require a videographer, somebody to walk around behind me and to, you know, use the camera at different angles that I can't do while filming alone. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you've just stumbled on my channel, hey there, please subscribe and become one of my active treasures. Hit the little notification bell so you know when I'm posting new videos. Join me on Instagram if you'd like. I do post different content over there. And I would just love to have you guys as a part of this online family. For those of you who are new here and who have subscribed, again, thank you so much. I love you all, and it means the world to me that you have chosen to support me. Thank you so much. I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.